Welcome back, everybody, to the Preserve Championship in Clearwater, Minnesota. This is the second round here on the 4th Disc Golf Pro Tour of the year. This coverage and the tournament is brought to you by Prodigy Disc. So thank you guys so much for making this possible. I'm Paige Pierce.
And I'm Missy Gannon.
And we're jumping into our second attempt at this course. I think you're going to see some hot scores today. You got me at 10 under par, Missy Gannon at 8 under par, Catrina Allen and Kona Panis both at 5 under par. So there's lots of birdies available. That's definitely the name of the game out here. Try to get as many as possible.
Here we have hole 1. It's a par 4, 615 feet. Basically a big wide open fairway. Everything on the right is safe, but there is a pond left that is OB, but the OB line comes up closer to the fairway. So you really have to keep it just center of the fairway to set yourself up for a second shot, carrying water a little bit, and then just try to land safely around the basket. Paige throwing out her Surge SS on a big flex line, gets a lot of distance, a little bit off to the right in that tall grass, but it shouldn't be a problem as far as footing goes.
All right, Missy's up next. Throwing your Thrasher on this one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and obviously the closer to the pond you are, the better. It makes the second shot shorter, but you do see a couple people going OB in that pond when you try to get that greedy. So you'll see a lot of people just
Next
kind of
up on
opt
a
for the
Rancho
middle and go for that medium distance approach. Kona now with her Star Destroyer.
Yeah, we were dealing with a little bit of headwind on this hole. Kona just sort of throws it a little bit low. I think she just wanted a little bit more height on there and get a full flex, but she should be okay.
Kat now with her X3. Doesn't look like she actually threw that one very hard.
Have a good round,
Yeah.
everybody.
She's just trying to get close to the water and make the approach short. She had easy work of this hole yesterday, so probably going with that same game plan today. Kona now going with a Leopard over and just barely clears over the tall shrubs and will be just outside the circle.
I'm going with Missy Gannon Undertaker. This is my straighter flying one. I just sort of threw it a little bit too flat and too wide, so it just held super straight. I'll be obstructed by that tree. I'll have to straddle out, but we'll see if I can convert.
This one's a little bit farther than I was yesterday. I thought about changing disc, but the wind was pushing right to left. So I grabbed my Fierce still and just that wind just carried it over there. Just outside the circle on the left side. And Kat now with her most trusted PA1. Same disc she put in the bullseye yesterday. Little bit farther away today, but she's definitely CTP, looking at about a 15-foot putt for a birdie 3.
Yeah, so I'm going to have to put a little bit of Annie and power behind this one, just sort of clip that branch a little bit.
That was a wide stance
yeah.
you had to go to.
A little morning stretch. Wow. That was a great putt. You're so good from those distances. I'll get there.
Oh, thank you, basket. We talked about
Yeah.
these baskets yesterday, but seriously, they are definitely catching a lot of putts. Very happy to land that one on the first hole.
Kona giving it a bid. She was a little bit outside the circle.
And she's putting with a Firefly. Not many players I know use that Firefly.
Really committed putt by Kat, just a little high.
Still will card the par. And now we're on to quite a different style of hole. A lot shorter and way more wooded.
So hole 2, 284 feet, the par 3. Mando on the right side, you have to just pipe one straight up the gap and just have something hold super straight. If you hyzer out a little bit left or right, you'll still be okay, but you might have some of those trees to contend with on your putt.
I can see my van right behind me as I'm teeing. It's cool to have all the camping on the course.
You put your Crystal Fierce right up in the air, just let it glide right to the basket. That was almost an ace run.
Yeah, a little tree backstop too.
Mm-hmm.
This is your Pierce Buzz.
Yep. Nice and committed. A little bit of tailwind, so it does hyzer out to the left a little bit. But yeah, I'll have a tree again to contend with. I don't know. I'm finding myself behind trees today, but we'll see.
And Kona with her Mako 3. Beautiful line here from Kona. A little bit too committed.
Yeah.
She came in there a little bit hot and skidded outside the circle. Cat now with that same PA1. This is gorgeous.
Mm-hmm.
And just losing speed perfectly right under the basket. Will not even have to putt.
Kona again finding herself just outside the circle. She'll have to settle for a par. Another straddle putt for me.
Is that
And
branch in the way?
Yeah, and I mean, I just needed to feel my straddle putt. Just didn't quite feel it yet. But I'll be settling for a par. Probably changing up my game plan for today. We'll see. Nice birdie. Par from Kona. And an absolute drop in for Cat. Hole 3, 324 feet, par 3. It's a pretty straight shot, a relatively wide fairway. There is a cart path on the left side that could come into play if you get too many skips or you air it out a little bit too much. Most of us are going to go a little right side or directly at it and hopefully find ourselves inside the circle.
Yeah, that one just came out with quite a bit too much hyzer, and I'm going to be short left. But there is still a putt, and you don't have that downhill drop-off, so you can commit to the putt from down there.
Mm-hmm.
Catrina now with the M4. She went on a push hyzer yesterday and looks like the same angle today. Right onto the top of the flat, looking at a 18-footer.
I'm disking up a little bit to a thrasher. I'm trying to throw it out to the right and just have it land softly on the green. I end up going straight at it, which actually looks really nice, but it does push me quite a bit long and outside the circle, so I'm going to have a big tester putt.
Yeah, that was a really good angle out of your hand. It came out so directional right at the basket. Kona now with her champion Roadrunner. She throws this disc so well. If you guys tuned into the DD Open last week with GK Pro's footage, you saw her absolutely park hole 10 with that disc. You're like 45 deep.
Yeah.
Wow, great
Yeah,
birdie.
thank you.
324-foot hole, and you're outside the circle, 45 deep. 370-foot shot with that thrasher. Beautiful.
Yeah, that felt really good to get me going. Oh.
Oh, and just a tiny bit right from Kona. Cat drops it in for a birdie. And I'll settle for a par. So after 3 holes, I'm 2 under, as is Catrina Allen. Missy is at 1 under, and Paige Pierce from the second card is 4 under. currently.
Through only 6 holes too, so she's capitalizing for sure.
Making a little
early.
charge.
Hole 4 is 630 feet. It is a par 4. You're going to throw a nice big flex line off the tee and just try to get as far out in the middle of the fairway as you can to set yourself up for either a straight shot or a slight hyzer up to an elevated basket. So once you find yourself in the fairway, you are going to have to make it over this little hill. And ideally, you want to almost hit the top side, front side of it, or back side, I guess, from the fairway. So you can get a nice little skid up to the basket.
All right, Catrina with the box, going with a big anhyzer flex. A little bit too much turn into the headwind. Up at the tee pad, we couldn't feel the wind, but once you get through the gap, the wind was pretty severe. So that line that looked very, very nice, unfortunately, just held that anhyzer.
Yep, and
It's not so bad from that side, though, really.
No, not at all. I mean, it's going to set you up for a straighter shot. As long as you're not finding yourself behind those trees, you should be okay. I went with a thrasher, also on a big ante, and same thing happened to me.
And same shot again.
And now Kona's, is stepping up. She kind of got a little bit of a wind read, so we'll see if she changes it up a little bit.
She said this is her stable destroyer.
Okay.
So I think she did kind of beef up. And look at this angle she puts on it. Beautiful turn and that late finish. She is on the ball golf green, way up in the fairway, right in the center. Mm-hmm. Beautiful shot by Kona.
I just have like a little low ceiling to deal with, but I'm just looking at a pretty straight shot to the basket. So I'm going with the Missy Gannon Undertaker, just trying to rip it right at that tree on that right side right there, and knowing that it's going to hyzer right before it. And I'll find myself a little long, but I'm inside the circle.
Yeah, I think it was a good speed choice. Mm-hmm. It lost speed right by the basket, and it did skip a tiny bit, but it was already slowing down, so... Yeah. That was just a little bit of a late release from me there, hitting some branches and dropping inside circle 2.
Kat throwing a nice forehand. Just doesn't quite get the skips that I was expecting her to get. I was surprised when I saw her at circle's edge.
Yeah, I was as well. Looked like a good release.
Yeah.
Kona now with a AVRX3. She claimed that that shot was very lazy. It looked pretty good to me, but...
Nice go at the basket there. Kona just deciding to lay up. This is our first elevated basket, so, start thinking about it early.
Oh, and Catrina just barely low. She was actually head height with the basket from that elevated stance just inside the circle. And Missy connects for the birdie.
Yeah, this is like a similar start to the round that I had the first day. And so I was hoping that history would repeat itself, so we'll see. Little dunk from Kona. Hole 5, our first par 5. It's 910 feet. Again, just you have to rip something, get a full flight out of a disc, and land anywhere in the middle of the fairway, honestly. The closer you are to the right, the closer you'll be to the basket, but then the second shot is going to be this big ante or forehand. Again, just trying to set yourself up to right about here would be ideal to give yourself a nice putter mid-range approach shot to the green. So it's a really good par 5, I think, for our division. A lot of birdies to be had, but certainly can find some danger.
All right, 2 birdies in a row gives you the box now, and you're throwing your thrasher again.
Yep. A little high, but I did get the flight that I wanted. Just might have lost a little distance.
Catrina now going with a roller. Putting it down right in the center of the fairway.
We're still contending with that little bit of headwind, which could have pushed that to the right like it did, but she'll be okay over there, I think. It's just going to make that second shot a little tougher. You decided to go with a Zeus, right?
Yeah, we still had quite a bit of a headwind, so I wanted to club up and get that stable finish. Make sure to be on the left side so you can round the corner easier. Kona now with her stable destroyer again.
Yep.
Pretty similar spot in the short grass. Really, I think the second shot is the most important.
Yeah. And this is the only tree you're really looking to get around. I just hung it. I threw it the way I wanted, just not the direction that I wanted. And I definitely cut myself off a little bit by hitting that tree.
Kona now going to a flippy Star Destroyer. She said she really didn't commit to this angle that she wanted, so it hyzers out. Grabbing that flippy one, she was wanting it to hold over and get the full flight out of it. This one is my Zeus again, and I really wanted to rip on this one and try to get it down as far as I could. Overcommitted, and I'm going to find myself in the tree line on the right side. Cat going roller.
Yeah,
again.
back to back.
It's awesome on a course like this. You can see her skill set in full effect. She's throwing so many different types of shots out here.
Yeah.
Sidearms, rollers, hyzers. Shots.
That just needed a little flip, and that would have been really good. I just threw a bad shot.
Sometimes that happens.
Yeah.
Sometimes people ask you, like, what happened there? And, sometimes the answer is as simple as it wasn't a good one.
Just a couple misfires, that's all.
Ooh, I love that committed release from Kona. She actually threw it so hard that she kind of lost her stance. That was a leopard.
Nice low line forehand with a fairway, it looks like. It's banking on that skip. Go a little long, but you'll be inside the circle.
Yeah, I didn't want to leave it short, and that backstop behind the basket was definitely appealing for me, so I just tried to throw it hard and get that skip. Catrina, on the other hand, is wide open, so she can throw a putter right at it.
This was one of those distances where I wasn't sure if I should jump putt or throw, and with the bunker under my feet, I probably should have just thrown it. But it'll be okay.
It got up there.
Yeah, it got up there.
But yeah, those bunkers, when you land in them, even though they aren't an out of bounds stroke, they definitely take a lot of your power away trying to get that push off your back leg.
Yeah. From the knee, just trying to get that height with the basket. Love that approach. Right in the middle.
Yeah, it's been a couple months since I've thrown a knee putt, so I have to admit I was a little nervous on that one.
I'll clean up a par. I wasn't really stoked about it, but it's better than a bogey, I guess.
Absolutely. Catrina with another birdie. Chipping up to 8 under par.
Welcome to 2020. I just want to send a huge thank you out to all of our Innova throwers that have supported the Tour Series program. Every player on Team Star and Champion has a special signature disc available at the Innova Factory store and at retailers around the world. huge part of what keeps us able to do what we love and be professional disc golfers out there on tour. So thank you so much for supporting it.
All right, hole 6, 297 feet, par 3. We have to carry the water for about 200 of that 297. It's super reachable for most of us. You just don't want to air it out, and you don't really want to push it to the right or long because those trees can be tricky to get out of.
Catrina going with her M2 here. One of her fave 5 in her Prodigy disc in the bag. Airs it out a little bit, kind of put it nose up, and it just kind of drifted down towards hole 7's tee pad actually. So she's gonna have a long look. This is my Crystal Fierce. Just going with my straightest flyer in my bag.
Mm-hmm. Yep, perfect shot. I'm trying to blast an Undertaker straight at the basket. I just throw it way too high. And I was worried. I was worried this was going in the water. Not something that I ever plan on doing on this hole, but thankfully it stayed in bounds.
Kona now with the Roadrunner. Beautiful, beautiful shot. Just a tiny bit late out of her hand, and she's going to sail into the woods on the right side. Catrina realizing she doesn't really have a good bid at it, just laying her PA1 up into the mulch.
Yeah, I was dealing with some weird footing, just sort of airing one out there. I actually gave it an okay bid, but I'll have to settle for par.
Oh, and this is what Kona's left with. Not much of a direct line at the basket. She's just trying to get out of the woods and give herself a stress-free par tap in. Replay from Kona. Sometimes it's a tough gap to hit when you're in those woods.
Paige continuing on the birdie train. I'll settle for a par. As will Kona and Catrina. Take a look at the leaderboard here. Paige just keeping it rolling, 4 through 6. I'm a little bit slower start, but still under par. I think Paige Shue was still making a big run there.
She was 5 under par through 7 holes, and Holcomb's 4 under through 7. So second card is definitely carding some understrokes, and some of us are checking that and seeing that.
Hole 7, 240 feet, par 3. Cool little hole. You just have to commit to something super overstable and just really cut it in on the inside and hit that hill, and you'll get a big skip down to the basket.
So this one was my only bogey yesterday, so I decided to change my disc to a ringer and just try to hit the gap, not try to get to the basket, which I succeeded on, but I will not have a birdie look. Catrina going with her M2. She was calling for it to miss that tree, but it does not.
Yeah, I'm going up to a Raptor here, just trying to really hug the inside and get over the hill, but I actually hugged the outside, and this is the reaction you're going to get 9 times out of 10. It's just going to get that straight skip rather than that left skip.
Yeah, Kona's lining up her lone howl.
And this is what you need to do. She hugs that inside line. It's really hard to commit to that, but she's going to get a nice skip.
And she knew instantly. I mean, you can't see the basket, but as soon as it rounded that corner, she double fist bumped and knew she had piered the line.
Yep. I'm just laying up here. This is one that I was kind of thinking about running, but at this point, I just figured get a 3 and move on.
Yeah, those are, I know both of us just love putting. We love hitting putts, but, you know, elevated basket with that drop off behind, it just,
Not worth
we
it
couldn't do it.
sometimes. And that probably felt like 20, 30 feet high to her.
Yeah,
she
that
was down the
was-
hill. So.
That was a great par save.
Yeah. Yep. Getting my par. I was actually farther away from the basket than I wanted, but thankfully I converted.
Kona with the drop in.
Yeah.
Beautiful shot. That's a note to take. Take the inside line
Yep.
on hole 7.
Yep. All right, our second par 5, hole 8, 1,000 feet exactly. Again, just a really big rip off the tee. You just want to get as much distance as you can. You can really be left or right, it doesn't really matter, but I think being a little left actually makes this second shot a little more open feeling. And so you're just going to rip another shot up there and just try to keep it in bounds. There is OB on the left side and then thick woods on the right side. I think that third shot is actually one of the tougher shots on this hole to navigate around those trees to the basket.
Look at this angle from Kona, getting that full flex out, but definitely still finishing left. Left side is better as you can see more of the fairway. That hill on the right kind of blocks your view, so you do want to be as left as possible.
It's like a little early release from you. You will be left in a little bit in that tall grass, but I think the angle will still be pretty good from over there.
Yeah, maybe slow down my run up a little bit, but yeah, it is left and it's open. Catrina now opting for another roller. I'm assuming that this is a D4. I know that she always throws rollers with D4, but this is a new disc into her bag. That new Prodigy Spectrum plastic looks gorgeous.
Mm-hmm.
And this is so far.
So far. We were watching the camera guy because we couldn't really see, but he was just following it the entire way, and we knew it got a ways down there.
So far. Past the cameraman. They're going to have to back it up tomorrow.
I'm going Thrasher, a little early release. I still get some good turn out of it, and I'll find myself on the left side, which is what I wanted. Thrasher again, just trying to throw it super straight and just land right in the middle of the fairway while getting a good amount of distance.
I opt for my buzz today, not trying to get too far up there, just a straight mid-range that I know is not going to skip, and in that case will not find the out of bounds. Kona going with a sidearm now with that same Star Destroyer.
Yep.
Great trust on that.
Yep, just trying to get around that little hillside right in the middle.
And Kat now is actually far enough up that she could eagle this hole.
And that's definitely what she's thinking. If she's going roller again,
Cut.
she's just trying to get that cut. That was gonna get at least near the circle if it got that cut.
Wow. And honestly, I know that it was a little bit risky, but I think that it was warranted. I mean, even if it went out of bounds, she can still get up and down and save a par. So I think that was a great decision and so close to executing it.
And I do really like the forehand on this third shot. I think that's the way it plays a little bit nicer. I was trying to go straight and just missed my line, and I'll find myself outside the circle, as will you. Kat just pitching up to the basket. I'm trying to give this a bit. It's uphill. There's barely any danger, but then I hit the only branch that was in my way. Kona pitching up.
All right.
Yeah, that was great birdie to capitalize on. Making big putts. And you're just going to see a couple of par tap-ins. Even with the OB, you know, catches through 2 monster shots and is still able to get her par. Hole 9, 284 feet. It is a par 3. Really, the only danger is going a little bit long or leaving yourself way too short and giving yourself a scarier putt to the basket. So you just want to try to get as close as you can to the basket and give yourself a putt.
Yeah, there is OB long on the right, but it doesn't really come into play from our tee pad. I think that's more of the danger from the men's pad, where they really have to rip drivers up there. Kona now going with a lone howl. Going up the right side with a stable fairway. Going for that skid on the green. Doesn't get it quite wide enough, and she's looking at a tester right at the bunker. Catrina with her M2.
Also going that wide hyzer line.
But it being a mid just kind of drifts down and doesn't get any skip, so she's going to find herself a little bit closer than Kona.
Yeah, I'm lining up my more overstable Missy Gannon Undertaker, trying to go that same wide route, just ripping on it as hard as I can and hoping to skip right up to the basket. And I do make a nice little correction. I'll leave myself with about a 12, 15 footer.
Beautiful shot.
Thanks.
I find myself farthest away from the basket. Don't want to lay it up. Just not quite committed.
And here's that, the way that this putt looks, it's a little scary. And she gave it a full commitment, just a little high. And that's just the danger of it.
Now she's putting from in the bunker, way underneath the basket. Beautiful par save again from Catrina. That's 3 holes in a row now. She's had testers for, well, the last one was the out of bounds, but on 7 as well, that long par save putt.
Yep.
And Kona just laid her putt up. She didn't want to mess with that comeback. Taps in a par, and we'll look at the front 9 scores. I'm at 15 under, Missy Gannon 11 under, Catrina Allen 8 under, and Kona Panis 6 under par. We also have Paige Shoe from the second card making a move. Make sure you guys tune into the back 9 if you want to see how this round concludes. Make sure you guys subscribe so you know when this second 9 goes up. Thanks again to GK Pro and Prodigy Disc.